I like having it this direction instead of backwards. Good morning, everyone. This is Sherry DeBali with Redoubt News, and we're bringing you another congressional candidate for the 1st Congressional District of Idaho. I would like to address the confusion this morning on the scheduling. That was all me, folks. I will take that hit. You know, I'm kind of old. I get confused. But we are trying to confirm up other candidates, and we do have them willing to come on and interview for you. Today we are happy to introduce you to Nick Henderson. He's another candidate for this race, and I would also like to introduce you to Captain John Alexander of the U.S. Militia Northern Command and Redoubt News. And we're going to let you get to know this candidate. Hold on just a second while I turn this around. Okay, join us in the chat room with your questions, and we're going to let Captain Alexander take it over from here.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming in today. I'd like to welcome Nick Henderson here. Appreciate you coming in today.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, if you'd like to give an introductory of who you are, what you're all about,
Right.
and
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
going to let you take on.
So my name is Nick Henderson. I am currently running for the District 1 Congressional seat. And I was born here in Coeur d'Alene. I'm a local guy. And I was raised here. I live in St. Mary's, so we've been all up and down the St. Joe. And our family background is mining in the Silver Valley out there in the Wallace-Kellogg area. And we still have family out there as well. My background is military. I served in the Army, and that was from 2004 through 2007. I served in Iraq 2005 and 2006, and I was honorably discharged in 2007.
Well, thank you for your service.
Appreciate that. And then after that, I went to college, flight school, earned my degree in aviation, and then my pilot's ratings. So I'm currently working full-time as a commercial helicopter pilot. And a couple of years ago, I started my own company. It's a drone-based business that uses drones for aerial survey and mapping work, and we've been doing that around the world, mostly in South America with resource developers. Back to my family roots, working with gold mines in particular, and getting them that new data so they can plan. So that's my background in a nutshell.
Okay. So you're running for office.
Right.
As you know, the militia, we're all about the Constitution.
Yes.
That's where do you stand on the Constitution?
I believe that the Constitution, as it was written by the founders, is, one, the most important document that has ever been created by man in terms of governance and creating a government. I believe that our republic has lasted as long as it has, and a lot of that comes down to the rights that were put in there in the first 10 amendments, and we need to defend that from any of these perversions and twisting that's trying to go on right now.
Okay. What's the most important article in the Constitution to you?
The most important article of the Constitution would be this. Well, are we talking article or amendments? Because I would go with amendments. Yeah.
Okay. What would be the most important?
The second amendment to me is the one amendment that is the most important, because it guarantees the other amendments of the Constitution and keeps our freedoms secure. As soon as they erode the foundation of the Second Amendment in any way, that establishes precedent for taking away other rights, taking away other amendments, and then curtailing our freedoms. So the Second Amendment to me, and I believe this since I could read and since I understood the Constitution, is the most important and vital component to that Constitution. And it's unique to our Constitution, and that persevered for so long. Our founders had that foresight.
So under the 14, can you what it means? What you're stating in 14 in the Constitution?
In the Constitution. I'm a little embarrassed to say I don't have all of memorized. 14th Amendment was, remind me of the content of it.
Militia duty.
Militia duty. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not familiar with Amendment 14 then. I am familiar with the militia as it is established in the Second, which is by to the freedom and to the perseverance of the nation, but the duties of the militia as it's outlined in the 14th. I'm familiar with.
Okay. Here's the 14th Amendment. I'll let you read it real quick.
Let's see. There's some duty. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, everyone shall be enrolled in as long as they aren't in the military. It's a separation of the two.
Okay.
Yeah. Then it's a civic duty, the civil right of the citizen to be a part of that militia or to be active in the militia.
Correct. It's actually, that's what's in the Second Amendment. So, look, well, that's one of the things we're trying to bring up to our candidates
Right.
that are running for us. You know, I'd like to see you guys understand the Constitution.
Right.
If you guys don't understand the Constitution, get a book and read it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm asking. Because I want to know whoever's in the office for me
Mm-hmm.
understands every bit of our Constitution there.
Right.
You know, your duties under the Constitution, do you know what article that would be? What amendment?
The duties
For the office that you're running for.
the office that I'm running. I don't know the Constitution.
For you?
Legislative department. That's the powers of the requirements. Legislative power of the House of Representatives. So beyond that, the statement that they are that they feel the federal government, the power of the states.
So that's what I'm trying to point out to you. Different articles that they have in here. Do you understand the importance of the Constitution?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So people that understand that there's a big in our Constitution that turns me as a Catholic, especially all of us as U.S. citizens. We want to know you guys understand the Constitution.
Right.
Because if you're to represent us, represent Idaho, the United States of America, I want you to understand the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's what you do, and I'm going to ask of it.
Yeah.
Because I ask everybody that's running for office.
Right.
I've got an extra book in my case. Take a understand it.
Yeah.
Because when you don't, then it makes it. Then it brings question to me, and it does. And I'm not here to represent for you. I want to know that we're both, not only, I want to know that you understand.
Exactly.
Because we live by it.
Right.
Now, you're military. Under military, you know.
Right. Absolutely.
Just because we expired ourselves from the military.
And the element that I find a lot of people forget about that oath is when we swear to uphold and defend the United States of America, we swear to do. But the second part of that is to protect ourselves internally as well as externally. Domestic. Everyone seems to kind of that uphold and defend applies to external threats. We're as at risk from external. And that's the part that oath, like you said, also includes protecting ourselves internally.
Exactly. And so, again, being a captain, you know, what always concerns me, you know, is as a terrorist threat. You know, they have painted a bad picture of militia and everybody else. You know, I speak for a militia, you speak for my militia.
Yeah.
You know, we're here all about the Constitution. Our duty is to uphold the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic.
Right.
And our duty as well is to get out and meet like you,
Right.
and I'll help inform you guys. If you don't understand it, please read it. Understand it.
Right.
Because if I'm taking the time to do it, I sure hope you guys,
Absolutely.
because I want to know about this book.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to learn.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest, I don't know everything inside and out.
Right.
You know, at the same time, you know, I want to understand, which means eventually I will know everything about this inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you going into running for office, what are your goals for the United States of America? How are you going to make a difference?
I think the biggest goal for me, and the reason I'm running, is because I see that domestic threat to the United States and to our Constitution. And I see these elected, unknown working agencies creating policy that would abide by their laws without. That corruption stems from the government mandate from states violating our amendment rights, our state rights, and usurping from us. My goal going into Congress as an outsider, I've never run for political office, never run a campaign before, be that change goes there and calls them out for what they're doing. You know, I want to get rid of redundant and overreaching agencies. I want to abolish these bureaucratic organizations that are usurping rights and then subjecting us to laws that nobody I would have passed. These bureaucrats. So my biggest want is to get in there and get a strong conservative defense of our Constitution. Right now, our Second Amendment is being attacked in all different ways, and because they know the people that would have us give up our right to bear arms and would usurp our freedoms, they know that an outright vote to repeal the Second Amendment would never go anywhere. So instead, the Firearms Act took away this recent bump stock ban. That's what's from Jeff Sessions. That's a terrible rule that needs to go away. They're trying to chip away at it. The gun age, purchase age of 21. That's unacceptable.
I guess all of us military guys would have to start. Right.
Exactly. That's a crazy thing to me. Maybe the right to vote at 18. They want to get you in the military at 18,
Right.
but you can't buy guns until you're 21.
Yeah.
So there's all these different attacks. Now they're trying to go after ammunition as a mechanism to circumnavigate around the Second Amendment. They say, okay, well, fine, yeah, you can have the right to bear arms, but you don't have the right to ammunition, because that's not in the Second Amendment. That's their argument. And argue that it is, and that the right to bear arms implies to have those arms. This isn't a raid about hunting. This is about maintaining a civil defense in the form of the militias in order to protect ourselves from tyranny and from our rights being taken away from us. So my whole reason for going to Congress, or for wanting to go to Congress, is to be that defender, that outside defender, who's taken that oath to protect the Constitution of the United States, and who have faced our enemies, and now I know, in the same way that I saw those enemies on that battlefield, I know that I'm seeing enemies in America right now, and I need to face them on that battlefield. And I don't believe that there are other candidates that are willing to lead that charge or to fight that fight.
Yeah. It's definitely a fight here. You know, we've got a lot of cameras on American soil.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, a lot of Americans take it as a joke. And they're not so-called refugees or Fox News and another Fox News doing a lot of coverage of the story of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, you know, that's being America.
Right.
Or they're actually setting up training camps. You know, they actually filmed them doing it.
Yeah.
Refugees brought into our country, you know, they're allowed to train to kill us.
Refugees, and then coming in on that diversity, coming in through chamber. We might bring in from abroad, and I absolutely love the idea of immigrants coming to the United States who want to assimilate with the United States, ideals and values, and become Americans. The problem is then that we've got this immigration policy in place, which is ludicrous. We know how good the person is who came in initially, but their cousins, their parents, they're radical coming in, and they're abusing our kind of inept immigration system get around to get around that would keep them out in the first place.
So, what would you bring as an approach to put a stop to this? What kind of things would you talk about to put a stop to this?
Well, I believe it absolutely begins at the form of securing our borders. We need, and this is to tie into the immigration problem. The porous southern border is ridiculous. I've been abroad. I know what those guys are capable of. I've seen them chant death to America. We've taken rocket fire from them. These people are not saying they want to kill Americans, they want to hurt America. And we have a southern border that is open for business. And I'm not just concerned about illegal immigrants from Mexico coming across that border, but there are terrorists and insurgents who are going to take advantage and have taken advantage of that open. So in Congress, very important that policy secures that southern border with the form of wall, with enhanced technology and manpower. That securing our borders is vital. Reforming our immigration system, chain migration, and a visa diversity. America is a very diverse country. We have every nation in the world. There are people from every nation in the world here in America. Elements of their culture here in America. We pull off visas to make ourselves more diverse. We have a very diverse in America, and that is a dangerous policy. So immigration reform that gets rid of dangerous policies, border security, establishing and maintaining and securing our borders is vital to getting rid of this problem, and then identifying. And this is another problem. Identifying these radicals or these insurgents and doing something about it. You look at the Marjorie Stoneman shooter who was contacted 30+ times by law enforcement agencies. The Las Vegas shooter, known shooter. The Orlando club shooter, known guy. These knowing about these people and not doing anything is offensive. And we should be, as soon as we identify these radicals, we know where these training camps are, we've got drones on top of them watching these guys train. We need to round them up and we need to get them out of this country. And that is absolutely, we need to start actioning the intelligence that we have and solving the problem.
How do you feel Donald Trump is doing?
I think Donald Trump is doing remarkably well. I think he is doing remarkably well in circumstances that are really unfavorable to him having any success. And despite having control of the House and control of the Senate and control of the White House, I find that he faces himself challenged every day by entrenched opposition in both parties. And what is really alarming is that it's in the Republican Party as well.
Do you believe he just fooled the Dems?
With
With all the things that just got passed?
the omnibus bill?
Yep.
Frankly, I would not support the. I think that the reason Donald Trump didn't veto it is because it was, in his eyes, a necessary concession to fund the military in the way that he did. And then beyond that, looking at the military as an option of securing the southern border using the funding that he was able to secure for the military is a remarkable way to go about that. Because it is, in my opinion, and I've heard people argue against this, but in my opinion, and I just said this a moment ago, that southern border is a matter of nationalism. And the military is responsible for the national defense of the United States. And so it's absolutely within the realm of reason to use that military budget to build that border wall and aims there on
Which is actually in the omnibus bill. Actually really read deep into how the president is allowed to use it.
to move the funds around.
Or he could actually move that over, those funds over to national state.
Yeah.
For building the wall.
Yeah.
I've done some research over the last week.
Okay.
And so.
My biggest concern with the omnibus bill is I don't believe that is the right way to budget. I think what we see in the omnibus bill is a lot of pet projects. There's a lot of kind of pork barrel spending bills, nuggets and rewards for line and hold the line and behave. And that's not, and it's budget busting, a $1.2 trillion omnibus bill that balanced budget. That's people being rewarded to get, small concessions here and there. And so, like I said, it's the wrong way to legislate, it's the wrong way to budget, and I don't agree with the amount of money that we're throwing at projects we shouldn't be funding.
I'm not saying agree with it, I'm just how you stand on it.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Has questions being added?
Nope, I always Have you ever run for any office before?
I've never done this before.
Have you ever been a precinct committeeman?
I've never been a precinct committeeman.
So you want to take your baby steps, is that right?
The biggest step I take at this point is the one that I'm trying to take.
Why? You think you're a better candidate than all these other guys with lots of experience?
Well, that's the concern is that they have lots of experience, and they are all spectrum. And for me, when I look at what's going on in D.C., especially in Congress, lowest approval rating of any 15%, and it just keeps getting. Congress, the composition of Congress, and you say, okay, well, what's the number one career of these that are serving right now? It used to be lawyer. Used to be lawyers the number one career field. It's now politician. Every politician, more politicians in Congress come to Congress from previously been politicians. So we keep sending politicians to Washington, D.C. The approval rate keeps falling. They there and they don't do what they're supposed to do. So why do I think I'm a better candidate? Because I'm not a politician. And I think that's exactly what we need.
But in 2 years, you'll be that, and you'll walk away, is that right?
That was something I've campaigned heavily on getting this in place. And I've had people talk to me, well, how long would the term limits be? 10 years, 20 years?
20 years?
They're looking at 20 years. Yeah, and I mean, that's a career. That's a career as it is, and politicians are the problem. So a 20-year term limit isn't realistic. I believe that by establishing term limits in 10-year range, or however it balances out between the Senate and the House, so that you've got an appropriate amount of time there, is a really.
You don't know what the appropriate time would be?
I believe that if you reach 10 years, you've been in long enough. I mean, 10 years in the Army for that and that time. The problem that the bureaucracy
It doesn't take years.
You know.
Yeah.
What the bureaucracy has created in Washington, D.C. is that you get a freshman congressman like myself. I'm going to show up in Washington, D.C. No experience in Congress. I have no access to chairmanship in your Congress. Meanwhile, you've got these 40-year, 50-year congressmen who are sitting on top of their committees, and they've been there for 10 years. By putting a term limit system in place, we'll be able to fresh, young perspective and blood, new citizens on these committees, get away from the seniority kind of policies, the entrenched party to dictate who goes to committee and who doesn't go to committee. So I absolutely support term limits, but it'll take sitting down and saying rationally, okay, what is an effective way for us to send a congressman in D.C.? What's the best amount of time we should give him or her to protect our Constitution and pass bills that advance what we believe in and our conservative values. If it was a single term, that wouldn't be enough time to pass this.
I absolutely agree with you on the old guys in D.C. Okay, we're talking Lindsey Graham and McCain.
The Pelosi's and Boxers.
But tell me why you're the better candidate. You've got, you're one.
Right.
Okay, you've got a lot of,
One of seven.
One of seven.
There's another from Napa.
I have to look into him. So there you go. One of seven.
Right.
Why are you the candidate? And ladies. No, she's been around for a while. She knows the state system.
Right.
So she is definitely a viable candidate. Tell me why you should get.
I believe that I should get everybody's vote because I am one, an outsider, and two, a strong conservative. I believe in our Constitution. I've served our country before in the military. That military, having worked this now, those are experiences I take to Washington that will serve the people of Iowa in a way the better candidate. I am worried that politicians' career at the state level are in D.C. just mechanisms that continue to advance their political purposes at what's best for Idaho. And I believe I joined the military. 9/11 happened. I was a freshman. I saw that day, and I knew on that day I was hard. I was like, I will absolutely be military, and I want to fight these people. And as soon as I graduated from high school, on the Fort Benning, Georgia infantry school, I felt that call to service then, and I feel that same call, that same drive to serve in the same capacity, not necessarily military, in a way that protects Americans and it protects the American people from this threat. That same call that took me against the enemy overseas is the same call that's drawing service in Congress right now. And I think that is what makes me a better candidate. I'm not a career politician, and I haven't come.
Okay, I'm good at bullet points. I'm going to throw some bullet points at you.
Okay.
And I want you to just react with your instinct. Okay? Are you? Do you carry a pocket Constitution with you every day?
I do not.
You will now.
I will now.
Right there,
I've got
that's
it.
for you.
Yeah.
Okay, illegal immigration.
We need to stop and forward deportation.
Yeah, but what about regular refugees?
I don't believe bringing residents that could be defending their own country's home. We can help them in their own country.
Is that women and children?
Fighting age men should stay in their countries. Women and children, I would be amicable to bringing in as refugees to our country. But fighting age men should be in the fight. If their country's under siege, they should be fighting for
So I just want to make sure I understand.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Since you said that, not to interrupt you, Sherry.
Yeah.
So, with you being over in Afghanistan,
Iraq.
Iraq, my apologies. I'm sure you realize there's women terrorists over there as well, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Oh, never just.
Not at all.
Oh, I'll tell you that one.
so it's not that I'm trying to be racist about anything or
Right.
anything else. I'm just asking. So, we already know it's almost impossible to screen these people to bring it in.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, what would you suggest for a way to screen these people when the federal government said, "Hey, sorry about your luck, guys. We have no way of really screening these people."
Yeah, I believe that before they're even granted entry to the United States, we need to come up with a way to properly and adequately screen them.
Okay.
What I and what in particular in Europe, you look at the of Europe that's going on underway. They'll call it a refugee crisis, but I consider it an invasion. It's a hostile invasion. You look at these waves of fighting age men that are flooding these European countries. That we need to prevent that from happening here, because you look at the fall of those countries over there. It's been
So Iraq, Afghanistan, we're all aware. Even you got 6, 8-year-old children strapping up, to go blow up Americans.
right.
How are we going to be able to screen those people as well?
I believe a lot about those children being strapped up is, as a 6-year-old, I didn't know any better. I was running into traffic law. It's just you as a child are subject to the that you have, and I believe if we're looking at a refugee crisis as it's occurring in another country, and if we have parents that are radicals or we perceive to even have come from a region that's full of radicals, we need to count that they've probably most likely been grooming their children to be terrorists as well. Until we have a mechanism in place to adequately screen parents, that then the children and the parents themselves, we need to keep them in their country until we can adequately screen them.
So you're not actually for bringing up children?
Until
I understand
until
you?
we have an adequate way to screen them, I believe that the best thing we can do is help them in their country. Now, I don't want us getting radically involved in military missions all over the world anymore. We served in Iraq, we're still in Afghanistan, we're still in Iraq, we're in Syria now, we've lost lives in Syria now. The way the United States can best help countries is empowering them to fight their own fight for themselves. And I believe if there was an invasion or an insurgency happening here in the United States of America, you can bet your bottom dollar that I would be pulling my guns out of the and I would be going and fighting the enemy as needed. And with these countries, these other countries around the world, they're giving up on the nation. They should be there wanting to fight, willing to fight. And I think that if we're going to help them, we would do them a better service by helping them in their country than we would do ours and turn their back on their problems. I'm sure I would rather have them fighting the fight than having our guys over there.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
So you're all about that, you know what I mean, and that you're willing to, you would pull your safe and stuff like that. So as a representative,
Right.
say everything goes out, federal government, we're just violating people,
Right.
including Idaho's right.
Right.
Are you gonna pull your guns out alongside the citizens of Idaho, protect their rights against anybody, whether it's federal or a foreign government?
Yeah, tyranny from our own government, a foreign invasion. I will be fighting that fight. Citizens.
Do you have children?
Do not have children.
Are you married?
I'm not married.
Have you ever?
I was briefly when I was in the army.
Are you just like hard to live with?
No, she enjoyed the lifestyle of being an army wife, and when I got out of the military, I wanted to go and be a pilot. And, as we fell in love while I was in the army. We went through the deployment together. As I got away from the military and kind of began reintegrating into the civilian lifestyle, things just weren't the same for us, and I think it was just a matter of circumstances had changed so much that we found our compatibility wasn't really there. So I went back home to Colorado, and I continued to be a pilot.
As a congressman, I've got to ask you, if you ever find yourself stuck between voting your conscience and voting for the will of we the people, what would you?
I elected for the people, and if we're put issues between my conscience and the will of the people, that's not my office. It's not, Congressman Henderson. That's the Idaho's office. If the constituents want to vote one way or another, I'm not of the people. I'm not a representative of me. I vote for the people.
Okay, hold
So
on. Let me jump in on this. You need to clarify that statement.
The state, or
Clarify your position on this.
going where I was getting ready.
Okay. Let's say, out of the blue, Idaho turns blue and says, all right, we want to go socialism. All right? Will you go socialism because the people told you to? Or will you go with your conscience and say, oh, I hate this?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. No, not at all.
I mean, it really, and I'm not talking in a big way. I'm talking about certain
She's
points.
going where I was going to push.
Right. There's certain that, you could take these right people realize and then they're doing it. All right.
I'm very, very confident in the people of Idaho as conservatives. That when I meet with people in the communities, I really do get a feel for conservative values and beliefs. They're really entrenched in the state of Idaho. So as Idaho's office, I believe that the people of Idaho, when it comes to votes that would occur in Congress, would be demanding that I take the stand for the conservative point and vote that way, which is my point of view as well.
Well, the country right now, if you listen to the media, believes that we need some gun control, even if we don't need the Second Amendment. They believe we need some gun control because of all the mass shootings in the different schools, etc.
Right.
Okay.
How do you feel about
If
that?
you
They're absolutely
hold on,
wrong
hold
about
on, let me finish. Okay. If you go to a lot of areas flip-flopped, okay, to where they were very strong, never a gun control. Now there are, maybe a few limits here and there because, say, bump stocks, okay, something that you and I might understand would be infringing. What if the constituents, the majority in, say, blue Boise, turn around and say, no, we want to get rid of bump stocks and we want to get rid of, AR-15s, but you can keep the rest of it. Okay?
Right.
What if there was an initiative vote and it came up with that as a majority, even if it wasn't all of it? How would you react to that?
I would oppose that. Honestly.
But see, then you wouldn't with the voice of the people,
Right.
would you?
Right. You're right. I wouldn't be. The unfortunate part with that narrative, or with the narrative right now against start gun right. The narrative saying we need more is that it's a disinformation campaign. It's a omission of that. So,
Not to interrupt, but right, the correct response, in my opinion, would be, I would be going against the Constitution of the United States of America.
right, right.
So, my God, no, I will not go with you on it. So that will always be my response.
Right.
You know, and I might decide to run for Congress myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Not this.
I very well, I consider it.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming to a point to where, you know, people are forgetting the Constitution.
Right.
Most people don't know the Constitution, people.
They also don't understand the Ten Commandments.
But, yeah.
Because they're trying to get where they should be. They get them out of the schools.
So the whole thing, we're kind of a dog breed out here. We are, guys. So we're saying, so we will protect the dogs. Bucks about it. That's what we're here. You know, I'm not. We're here to spread a comment. Tell me you're wrong, media.
Right.
But at the same time, that's a note for. Okay, that's a note you swore upon.
Yeah.
This beer has no negation.
Right.
Period. And that's what I want to hear. My next comment. This book, no negotiation. Yep.
We've already given Ben policy. We've given up, chipped away, and we've.
I guess. How are you going to bring to Congress going against this book? How are you going to get other guys and say, "Hey, wait"?
Yeah. This is. It's important. In my opinion, it takes lines of strong concern why the Constitution matters. We've seen maybe the rights stripped away in law, the cost and liberties. To get that Constitution, conservatives are that are for that freedom, and put ways to protect even further and enshrine our, but then also roll back intrusions that have been made already against rights.
Further about the 10th. Can you tell me what the 10th says?
The 10th Amendment is that specifies the rights with the federal government.
Note, on that note, right. And constitutionally, the federal government's not supposed to own this land as this.
Correct.
Every state does own it by land.
62% land above in Idaho.
Gates weren't allowed to win. They kind of violate ranchers. Where's your stand on taking that back from them? And then how's your where's your stance on the BLM and the
right.
finding to arrest and find all this other stuff?
Yeah, it gets me furious. They own as much up until it was taken. There was a policy in place for that land back to the state, and that's out east. Most of that land is land, and it stopped being returned to the states. We have state control. Government, the and them again with having bureaucrats and policy that states they've never been into and they don't understand are responsible for why our wildfire seasons are out of hand.
So are you saying
why our timber industry's been squashed? And so it's a to get the Fed our lands and get control of those lands into the hands.
Are you saying owns those lands?
Well, the federal government believes they own 0% of it.
Do you believe they own those lands?
Quite understand the question. I believe the government has. I believe the whole self is for the people. This is
And who?
as in the United States. Frankly, when it comes to hands in Idaho's words are.
Okay, so that are being federal,
State occupied control.
like that, occupied. That's good.
Yeah.
Good answer.
So do you believe the Forest Service right to arrest somebody who's out there hunting
Not at all.
fish without a license?
Not at all.
License. So
The thing that I like most about are those of us here in North Idaho where we've got these mountains and we find that a lot of us are really good stewards of land as well. And if you're out there to feed your family, you know, that is absolutely your right to provide for the welfare and the well-being of your family. Federal policies coming out of Washington, D.C. preventing people from what they need to do to their family and to sustain themselves.
so a God-given right.
Right.
The Constitution back up and your God-given.
Yeah.
That regardless of what says different.
Life and life.
Okay, so that brings up another one.
Life.
Percent, 90%? Okay, the question, and this here to explain it. Everybody that is elected is or DC. That's the way of life that they call, okay, they have to add something else in there to get, they can say, well, I support me to support you over here.
I'll give you a carrot here.
Exactly. So you see where we're going with this. What are you willing to compromise on in order to accomplish your goals? There are a lot of points that you compromise on. You can compromise on you can compromise on you can compromise on it. There's a lot of points that come to you. You need to compromise in order to achieve your goals.
Which one would you be willing to compromise with?
Well, I'll be able to compromise anything that's constitutionally God-given right. There's an alien to me, we've already been losing, and we corruption at the city at the human level, at the man's level. In terms of compromise, and compromise is any part of negotiation.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody that compromise is realistic.
That sort of rigidity is unacceptable. Compromise for me, I would probably, when it comes to, for instance, the not the immigration, but the immigrants that are already here, the DACA thing.
Oh.
If it meant getting full funding for a border wall, stopping chain migration, ending the visa, ideal win, my total win for me would also be deportation of the 11 million illegals already here. But if I was sitting and said, we're going to give you all three of that, but we want to guys here, I'd be willing to entertain that compromise. Because
We have any compromise of the Second Amendment, any portion of the abortion issue, compromise on the Planned Parenthood fund?
Planned Parenthood needs it. There's no reason that the taxpayer should be that a private a facility that is responsible with my Christian beliefs. Taxpayer, and I don't know what the nation is 40% on the issue. The nation is by having their tax money sent to something that goes against their fundamental beliefs. So no, that's the abortion issue is not.
Okay, what about legal marijuana?
I'm completely for the legalization. Get the feds out of this, make it a state, a 10th Amendment of the state to self-determine in that.
How do you feel about it personally?
I don't personally feel one or another about it. But I have said that, especially the buddies who were hurt in service, they've got chronic pain. To treat that. I have a buddy who was recently diagnosed with, and they haven't done to his military. Does have it. He's using CBD to get ahead of that. A couple weeks ago, this property owners line, and she had Parkinson's. She was on a trip to Washington to get CBD oil treated so that she. Yeah, I don't have any trouble medicinal need, and I don't have any complaints. I also don't have
Other question.
use marijuana products or anything like that. I whiskey,
Yeah, see,
That's personal choice.
people
Those are
down
good
at the bar.
Bars
That's what I was asking.
You liked in bars, is that what I heard?
and coffee shops, kind of get into a comfort zone where people relax. We're doing a meet and greet tomorrow. A brewing company.
Really?
We're gonna do a casual, informal. There's no
What
structure to it.
time is that?
Yeah, I think they open at 2:00. We'll be there at 2:00.
All right.
Yeah.
First round's on him.
I've been running a pretty lean and mean campaign. So
All right.
I've been doing that, not buying drinks for everybody.
So
Okay, I just have one more for me. What are your personal top issues?
Top 3 issues. My high issue is of the amendment, and because I recognize the really the sneaky way they're going about attacking it. That for me, it's very important not only to protect the Second Amendment, but to kind of encapsulate it in a defense that cannot be penetrated by these misguided and uneducated activists who would otherwise have us give up that. Second to that would be getting abolishing agencies that are stepping their mandates, getting education, getting turned to the states. Because when I look at the federal government, about the federal endowed powers by states. And right now, the federal government acts as if it gives powers to states, and that's wrong. And a lot of that is just this overgrowth, this growth that has happened at the federal level. All these agencies are making to comply with, and they're not, coming from elected officials. So one of my next biggest priorities is getting these federal agencies and non-represented agencies wiped out, abolished, and get that control of those functions back to the states, such as the law. Get that back to the states. And then 3, we talked about the Second Amendment, getting rights back, and then of course, personally, and this is my bias as a military guy, national defense, and I think that defense is vital. I know how ugly the world is out there. I know how many days there are evil people trying to take over the United States or to kill them or hurt them. And when you hear the Ayatollah of Iran, truly evil guy, commending these people that want us to give up our Second Amendment right, listen to these guys. That's the exact opposite. But it's out there. Iran, Hezbollah, radical communists, the socialists. There's real threats from every facet of the world, and I think that a national defense is very important.
Bundy rep.
Yeah.
Any comment on that?
That was a hit. Atrocious oversight of federal of stepping up power. I'm totally behind it, and I'm glad that they are. I hate that even issue. I hate that I feel like they being targeted by the government.
Would you take with the Bundys?
I would. I was overseas at the time, but I would.
I mean,
What about, did you feel the same?
I'm not familiar with Burns, Oregon.
Another one, and
Okay.
and they were refuge for adverse action. That on that one.
The refuge as an encroachment of their land. I'm not
Then I'm not going to ask you to weigh in on
what happened there before.
I got the story.
we'll about that, but I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah, and so I mean, I've been, aside from my last couple about as well, I will wait a while Pacific and.
What are you doing? Hey, one of those comments.
I was working as I was flying. Currently, I fly oil and gas exploration. That's a full-time job, rotation. 30 weeks here.
Back to the thing with the happening all over.
Right.
Actually, people getting their it's about another question. Where are you going to stand if all, like other was? Because there's a lot of people who live off the land. They work. True. That to feed their families through feeding and hunting, say the Forest Service goes out, is trying to jail, is feeding
Right.
or whatever, that, arrest.
Right.
Yeah,
Or-
take that dad to
Citizens
jail.
arrest.
They're not gonna try to feed his family, okay?
Mhm.
Because realistically, prison or something like that. Take your stand on that. You're gonna protect that those rights because it's up for the.
Yeah, and then the first on that. They have a voice from Washington, D.C. supporting. We can talk about whole scenarios a lot, the reality of the facts, what action. But in that scenario, where this his family, a federal agent, trying to bar this man into life, and finally, so the first Congressional would be by far, but that's trying to feed him.
Do you think there's a law put in place to put a stop to these land seizures? Would you be able to bring anything to try to stop to this? Well, my thing is, I'm hearing so many people as well say, well, let's not worry about it until it happens. You do a and put a stop right in this, you know.
The antiquity used to those national parks in Utah was never the antiquity when it came and grabbed, in my opinion. Really rolled that and returned of that state of Utah. People in Utah, they're pretty about that. So I believe that the head of guys would be getting rid of laws like the antiquity, or at the very least, reforming. I believe that that's been
Like right now down on the Snake River, we've got getting ready to happen on the ranch.
Snake River.
Well, they've actually called in the Army. Again, it's another illegal land grab.
Yeah.
You may want to get into that, research it for too much longer. Because of the,
Yeah.
So I think what they did, you know, in this, I could be wrong, before the EI, you know, that, now they've done the engineers.
Right.
So it's not one way, it's another trying to do it. Again, this is where it's kind of a preventive measure. Put us to all this.
Right.
I mean, this has got to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and that in the form of also returning that land back to the states, and then putting controls on the agencies that would otherwise be land.
Right.
do you have, go ahead.
Okay, one thing. Okay, issues that I'm personally. Do you?
32.
Okay, you're 32, married. You don't.
What, he was
Married, yeah.
One of the things I've known is running for office. We do not have strong. The general handle is fairly Christian conservative views as your thoughts, given that what you character mean to that. Do you believe in moral character?
I do believe a strong moral character. I believe that comes from my own. And the simplest the do unto others. That's been very, very, very full. I've been to 50 years. I've served in the military, in civilian communities overseas, and in communities I've worked to work and with nonprofits and with nonprofits, because I believe that a good character is someone who throwback to looking, or don't stand with your hands, and don't walk on the dangerous and around. But I think that applies to every day. So when you talk about someone having a good moral character, what's right, even if someone's looking, we're not going to reward.
Okay, if you were to be found in a way that's not so proper and moral, do you believe you should be from office? Okay. What is on those conduct moral with specific immoral issues, adultery?
Right. Have to be removed from office. someone's conducting themselves violation of that and their belief in that, when we talk about Christian conservative values, away and moral way, then remove
So
it
would
from
you
our-
vote 11 years ago?
I mean,
I don't,
That's my whole thing.
My thing is they didn't, Clinton removed over, why hard over something.
They're running out. They tried Russia didn't work, and so straight out of that, what happened with her? Or a sword ready to accuse adultery or something out of the playbook of the enemy, and they will. And then as soon as by their race, you're removed from office, away, hear about it again. This is the issue with the potentially having an affair with this. I think grows of and they have against for the sake of argument. Humor that this is they did have this illicit relationship. That someone who become moral, absolutely not. I believe in that people better individuals. Donald Trump 11 years. Do I believe that 11 years ago? No. I think people change, and I think that of the Christian faith redemption. So in office, they're committing right now. That's very. If you want to pay for things like that's prosecuting someone who doesn't 11 years of growth. So I think if I were to go after President Trump on this, I don't believe Donald that he wasn't having an affair on the or the impeachment. So time and growers.
Well, Clinton was not impeached for life.
Yeah.
Held in contempt or anything on that either. And that was what, 12?
And they'll never ask Hillary Clinton as well. And that is this party on both sides in D.C. Why I don't believe politicians distance.
Okay, I think we're. Is there any?
Appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were.
Would you a minute to address everybody, or would you like us just go?
I believe that we've had a really great conversation today, and I think there's been a lot of questions. I'm walking away from it feeling as though I've learned some more, and I've got some homework to do, which I'm excited about. Because my belief is that I grow. I'm not going to it make things a little bit easier, or a lot more confusing, I guess. Battle around the coming out of conservative and the protection of our rights. That have been that they're going to and they're going to find.
Would you like to?
Absolutely. If you want more information, Henderson directly to our website on Soldiers for Congress on Facebook and at kind of all.
I am going to show the flyer here. Everybody, y'all do need to go and check this out. He is working to know. It is, just like he said, it's got nickhenderson.vote.
And I appreciate any questions. I try to answer all of the questions that come into our website.